What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, September 29th, 2023, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. We have some major breaking news coming in this morning. Apparently, the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has signed a decree on compulsory conscription of up to 130,000 people starting in the fall time. Okay, so Russia is going to be drafting another 130,000 soldiers this fall, okay, which is a lot lower than Ukraine estimated. Ukraine estimated between 500 and 700,000, but Ukraine was right on the timing. If you remember when I did that video about a month ago, I broke the news that Russia was going to draft up to 750,000 troops at the end of September. So now we're hearing about 130,000 soldiers to be drafted. Okay, and here's a copy of that decree signed by Vladimir Putin. So if you want to take a screenshot and use Google Lens to translate this, go ahead and do that now. But we also have some major breaking news. Apparently, Putin had a meeting with his Security Council today and also several closed door meetings. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on, guys. Okay, Putin signing uh, a decree to draft 130,000 people today, meetings with his Security Council, and several closed door meetings. Next week, Russia is doing that nuclear war exercise simulating destruction of 70% of Russian housing and nuclear contamination. And then the day after, here in the US, we're going to have that emergency alert system test. So absolutely insane, guys. The situation is just escalating, and we're literally on the verge of nuclear war. Okay. Yesterday we had 50 emergency action messages. Those are nuclear attack options broadcasted by the Pentagon to our nuclear armed submarines, and Russia broadcasted at least 10 of their version of the emergency action messages, which is known as the Russian buzzer. Okay, so Russia and the US both broadcasting nuclear attack options yesterday. And we also have some breaking news coming from the Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine, and she is now warning Russian civilians to leave Crimea as soon as possible because they might be targeting the Crimean Bridge again soon. So let me read to you what she said, and this is coming just a week after she was warning Ukrainian civilians to leave Crimea. Now she's warning Russian civilians to leave Crimea. So obviously, Ukraine is planning something big. Okay, they're going to try to cut the Crimean Bridge. They're going to fire long range missiles at it and try to take it out because they don't want Russia to be able to resupply Crimea with forces easily. And then they're going to make their move on Crimea. And when that happens, I believe Putin is going to launch nuclear weapons. Okay. So let me read to you what she said, though. And when the Crimean Bridge falls and when the land corridor is cut, thousands of civilians will not be able to quickly leave the peninsula. Therefore, I am appealing to Russian civilians. Staying in Ukrainian Crimea is dangerous for you. Leave. Do not neglect. Okay, so she specifically says here when the Crimean Bridge falls and when the land corridor is cut, thousands of civilians will not be able to leave the peninsula. Okay, I am appealing to Russian civilians. Staying in Ukrainian Crimea is dangerous for you. Okay, so strong words there coming from the Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine. We also have some breaking news that NATO is going to be deploying more peacekeeping forces into northern Kosovo. Okay, additional combat elements of KFOR are going to be deployed to northern Kosovo. We also have some breaking news that NATO is deploying more AWACS planes to Lithuania. Okay, at least 2 more AWACS planes are going to Lithuania. This is huge, guys. Okay, for there to be more AWACS planes in Lithuania, I mean, they're already patrolling Lithuania and the Baltics like nonstop, and now they're going to send 2 more AWACS planes. I mean, that's just crazy. And also, Russia is conducting naval exercises right now in the Baltic Sea, right next to Poland, right next to Poland's most important port. Okay, and things are just escalating everywhere. Okay, and it looks like Ukraine is going to try to go for Crimea, and they're going to try to take the bridge out. So that's when I think Putin could do something crazy. I hope and pray he doesn't. Okay, I support Ukraine's independence, and you guys know where I stand on that. But you can't ignore the reality of the situation. Putin, for his own survival, cannot allow Ukraine to win, because if Ukraine wins, he's going to look very weak on the world stage and also at home. Okay, I want to just share some flight paths with you guys. So earlier this morning, we had some AWACS planes flying along the Polish-Ukrainian border, which is usually they only do that if there's going to be some kind of Russian missile strike. Okay, but there were 2 of them flying in loops here. Okay, right over Zamość along the Ukrainian border. Okay, very interesting. We also had a lot of NATO reconnaissance in the Baltics. There was an Italian reconnaissance plane flying through Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, as you can see here, at the same time as those AWACS planes were flying along the Polish Ukrainian border. And we also had some interesting flight paths in the Black Sea. We had an RC-135 rivet joint. This is a manned reconnaissance plane that can collect electronic signals. And it was flying kind of along the Romanian coastline, but it was like facing towards the Crimean Peninsula. Okay, and from what I understand about these planes is that they have like a side-looking radar or side scanning technology where they fly and they can scan things on the side of the plane. And so it looks like the RC 135 was trying to gather intelligence on the Crimean Peninsula. Same thing with this RQ-4 Global Hawk. Normally, this thing is out in the middle of the Black Sea, and this time it was facing more towards Sevastopol. Okay, so both of these reconnaissance planes were facing towards the western side of Crimea, which is where Russia has their Black Sea fleet. Why they were doing this? It could be that Ukraine is planning some kind of strike soon, and they're trying to gather information and intelligence for Ukraine to help coordinate the strike on Sevastopol or the Black Sea Fleet or whatever. Or they're just gathering intelligence to help Ukraine when they try to come into Crimea and take it back. So, guys, the situation is just really escalating. And we also have some breaking news that the Taliban has arrived in Russia, in Kazan, and they're meeting with some high-level Russian diplomats here, which is really interesting. Okay, and so the Taliban meeting with Russian diplomats and officials, very, very concerning. We do know that the Taliban was able to get a hold of hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of American military equipment when we pulled out of Afghanistan just about 2 years ago and left tons and tons of equipment behind, like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Humvees, Bradleys, artillery pieces, all kinds of stuff. So now the Taliban can give Russia, our equipment, and Russia can reverse engineer it or whatever, or maybe they're going to make some other kind of deal. I have no idea. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Okay, Putin signing a decree for mandatory draft, 130,000 people to be drafted. Ukraine warning Russian civilians to leave Crimea. and Putin holding closed door meetings today in the Kremlin. Multiple nuclear attack options broadcasted in both Russia and the United States yesterday. So things are really escalating. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll probably do another update later. Until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.